Lately, we've been thinking a lot about our future. We've been on this land for a year now, and we are starting to wonder, what's next for us? We are not old, but we're also not getting any younger. And we've been dreaming a lot about what we want our future to look like. We are starting to think a lot about raising a family and building something more permanent in our lives. It's been a year full of discovery, growth, challenges, and new opportunities. But it also feels like life here is not exactly where we are meant to be forever. This place has always felt to us like a stepping stone, a learning ground, a place of self-discovery, and a place to clarify our dream. But not really something permanent. It seems like these past few weeks we have really been flipping back and forth between living in the present moment and also trying to plan for our future. But I don't think those things are mutually exclusive. There's a quote from Lao Tzu that goes something like, "Depression is from living in the past. Anxiety is from living in the future. Peace comes from living in the present." And while I think there is definitely a lot of truth and wisdom in that statement, I don't think it paints a full enough picture. The ability to think about our future and make plans are what separate us from most animals on this earth. It's probably the biggest reason we as a species were able to expand and take over the world in such a short amount of time. So I don't think only living in the present and never thinking about the future is going to get us as individuals very far. Rather, I think it is a good practice to know what you want out of your future, to have a vision for it and to be able to articulate it. It's only then that you can bring the vision to the present and properly align the way that you live and the goals that you will need to achieve to get to that place in the future.
Oh my gosh.
If we do that, then we can focus on the way that we live in the present and immerse ourselves in those activities we decide will get us there.
There's so little.
We don't have to think too much about our future because we know that the things we are doing align with the outcome we want to see in our lives. We can bring our focus back to the present. But the thing I think is most difficult to balance is not becoming so attached to that vision for your future. We can plan all we want, but life has a tendency not to care too much about our plans. If we are obsessed with whatever dream we have and are rigid about how it will look, then I think we are always setting ourselves up to be disappointed. I think then maybe it's important to aim at a future that you envision, to find a direction in your life, but also not to get too obsessed with a specific destination. We should allow it to be fluid, to shift when necessary, and allow ourselves to reevaluate if what we are currently doing still aligns with the vision we have for our future.
This guy and all of his friends have been eating my flowers. I thought they only liked vegetables, but apparently they like to eat flowers too.
Just thinking about the possibility of one day leaving this land, this country, our friends and community has definitely been really difficult. And I think somehow it has made us really appreciate what we have here right now. We've just been enjoying the little things so much more. Like the fact that everything is so green and alive here all the time. That the sun is always shining and you can live fairly comfortably with nothing but four walls and a roof over your head. The way we have a lot of friends so close to us and we don't have to try and fight for time together because of things like work schedules or energy levels. we can really just show up and spend time together. Or the way that we feel like we really just have a lot of space and time to be together and with ourselves because there are not 100 other things fighting for our attention. It's very quiet here. In reflection, this time has been so peaceful and so perfectly disconnected from the busy world around us, which in a lot of ways was exactly what we were looking for when we came here. And it would be so easy, in theory, to just get lost in the moment here together, living a slow and simple lifestyle for the rest of our days. But as tempting as that is, we also have this much bigger dream that we are working towards, that has shifted over time, but ultimately remained really strong in our heart. I think ultimately the world needs more places like this, more ways to slow down and appreciate the very nature of existence, more ways to connect with other humans in real life in deep ways, more places that allow unique individuals to flourish, not based on your ability to be a good subordinate, but your ability to be the most that you can envision yourself to be. It's something so incredibly counterculture to the world that we live in, but I think that speaks to how much the world needs it. And that's ultimately what we feel called to do, to create more places like this. In many ways, I believe the future is really not up to us. We humans can try our best to plan, to do, to act, but ultimately the universe has a way of approving or rejecting our plans. I think all we can really do at the end of the day is try our best. If we have something we strongly believe in, if we have a way in which we want to live our lives, a dream or a project or a business that we want to bring into existence, all we can do is align our actions with that motivation and keep moving forward, despite whatever hardships we will encounter. There was a comment from a viewer last week that has been in my mind. They told us that we were on the wrong path, that we should be scared of our future, that we should seek security, and essentially we should give up this dream. And also that we're not that interesting, which is fair enough. He can have that one. And it's not that I've been negatively brooding over this comment for a week, but rather I've been trying to understand why it bothered me so little. And I think the conclusion I came to was that I ultimately believe if we are living consciously and intentionally in our lives, there is no wrong path. There is just learning and life experience. And in many ways, I don't regret a single thing I have ever done in my life, no matter how stupid, because it all led me here, where I feel in many ways we are getting closer to our dream. And I think even if we had to go back to Canada and work for 20 more years in order to buy land and build our vision, it would still be worth it. And even if this channel never grows and never becomes a financially viable way for us to share our experience, if we still feel like we have something to share, we would still do it. Because despite us making potentially uninteresting videos for some, the amount of people that have mentioned to us that we have had a positive impact on their lives is worth more than I ever hoped to achieve anyways. So despite our future constantly being up in the air, despite us getting older with each passing day, despite us not having a place where we feel like we could start a family yet, we will keep moving forward. We will keep learning and evolving and taking every opportunity to engage with the beauty of life until we find what's next. But for right now, life is pretty great.